Hundley holds, steps up. Hundley sacks T.J. Watt. NFL history. Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record. Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Sawinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and the greater Pittsburgh area. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching us on Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook. We're still holding around that 7,000 likes there, so thank you for that. And for all of you, we'll give it, hey, my girl Scoop. Hello, Scoop. We're trying to help Albert Tripp Menu get some money. They still need money. He still has, lung disease, and they need help. So don't forget, you'll see it in the promo. She's first one on. Hello, Scoop. All right, let's see. We're on Pittsburgh Sportsline live on our channel. So all of you on there, check it out. We're trying to pump up those likes. I think we're, at 138?
Well, we reached 140, I think.
Okay, then we hit 140. I didn't check it last week, so thank you very much. We're moving on up. Paul Haley's watching. Thanks, Paul. We appreciate you. Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner's back every other week. He's here. Wait till you hear what he wants to talk about. All right, Nick VIP Callis is here, and he had a little session here teaching 2 young men, Marco Rodi and Michael Mariano. They came in at 6 o'clock. They beat Smoking Jim by 58 minutes. They were here, and now they think they're experts on the camera. So grandmas, you'll see how much better they do now because Nick was their tutor. So Ralph Williams, shout out to him.
That's my man.
All right, we're going to see how Johnny Mariano, the dad of Michael Mariano, does in the control room. And Marco's helping him. Oh, before we go there, Marco wants me to shout out to Caden and Nathan. Thank you for watching the show. And let's go to our promos. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
Join the Bethel Park Police Department in support of Kicks for Kids. Its mission is to provide grade school students with a fresh pair of shoes to start off the school year on the right foot. Donations of new youth and adult-sized tennis shoes will be graciously accepted. You can also make a tax-deductible financial donation, 100% of which will go toward the purchase of tennis shoes for students. You can support by calling 412-835-7220, by texting K for K to 44321, or by mailing orders to Life Builders at 2624 Brandis Avenue in South Park. There's also a bin in the lobby of the Bethel Park Police Station for you to make a drop-off. Kicks for Kids. Let's build together and make a difference in the life of a student. And now this message from BPTV.
Alas, poor talking machine. I knew him well. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy?
Dave, I'm not dead. I'm still doing Pittsburgh Sportsline every Tuesday night and many other weekly shows on BPTV.
That's great, Al, but then who's this?
I don't know, but we must leave right now. Let's go. Help save Pittsburgh police officer Jeffrey Crawford. Jeffrey is in need of a kidney donation. He's in stage 5 renal failure and he's on dialysis 3 times a week. He needs this kidney ASAP. To contact the UPMC donor registry, call 412-647-4438 or go to livingdonorreg.upmc.com. And to help spread awareness, use the hashtag #BlessJeff on socials. Let's come together to support Pittsburgh policeman Jeffrey Crawford in his time of need. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills, along with its location in Wexford and its inclusion in the curriculum of Provident Charter School in Troy Hill. Zhang uses Taekwondo to teach its students confidence and self-discipline through physical fitness. Zhang is offering a 4-week special. You get a uniform and lessons for $30. If you mention the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim, or VIP Nick, they'll give you a further discount. For more information, go to zhangtkd.com or call 724-934-9264. They're going to show. We back. All right. Wait, we got a whole bunch of people just tuned in. Grandma Ann Harder, M&M's are here. Paul Haley watching Facebook Live, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Ralph Williams, hello guys. Chief Chuck McElroy's watching. Paul Haley, Union Strong, Union Proud, boycott the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I second that emotion. Pete Kasick's watching. Marla Shatner's watching. She said, hi, Al and crew. Scoop said hi to Marla. Marla said prayers back. All right, they're in between. All right, we got Margaret Rohde. I know who it is. Mike, this is Peggy and Nick. And they're in Rochester, New York, our biggest group of people there. She's getting neighbors to like us. And your son's on the camera there making Smoking Jim and Chip look good. So we got to start the show with what's on your mind. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Let me get on my turn. Now I'm Gunner. I'm Gunner on the kickoff return.
No. The line was there. Turn that way.
Yeah.
He got both
He
in.
got both feet in, man.
He
That was
tiptoed.
amazing.
One of the worst moves I ever saw, and one of the dumbest in football.
That was one of the worst moves I never saw.
He slept through it all.
He could have kept his stride and been fine.
Mikey, I'm getting ready to put this one on wax. Old country road, take me home. West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Hey, listen, I tell you what, everybody is down on Phil Djokovic. I guess nobody likes him, but
I like him. 5 years, made millions of dollars, and he has an Audi.
Does he?
So I like him for that.
Hey.
On football, you can have him.
How can you not like a guy that's been in college for 6 years and hasn't gotten a degree?
Are you serious?
He's going after your record.
He got another 9 years to go.
All right, carry on, Jim.
Hey, Michael, Pitt got I've been saying this from the beginning of the year. They got some of the biggest and best tight ends in college football. Bartholomew is 6'5", 250. Can catch. It's an easy throw. You got 3 tight ends. Use them. Quit trying to get to them diva wide receivers. And talking about backyard brawl. This weekend, 1-3 Baldwin plays 1-3 Bethel. When these teams get together, you throw the records out. It's rivalry week. Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I always look forward to it.
All right, we'll move on.
But let me just say this.
He really likes Bethel Park.
Let me just say this, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. First of all, congratulations to T.J. Watt. Number 2, 50-yard touchdown catch in the first game, 63 in the second game. Went Jordan Addison looked great in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, who I've been begging for. And finally, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I told you, Joey Porter grabs all the time. It should have been a penalty. He did everything but choke the guy. He's going to be a problem. Get rid of him right now for a 5th-round pick. And that's what's on my mind. Question over here in the black shirt.
A statement. He was like that at Penn State.
Yes, he was.
And he thrived there because he had 1 interception.
Yeah.
And you know why he didn't get called for interference?
Because of his daddy?
No, because we had a homer call, but the ball wasn't catchable.
Is that right? But I tell you what, I know what he did. I know what wasn't catchable. That African tight end that ran right through him. Joey had a chance to make the tackle and went after his ankle. He kept on going.
You
for
know
about
who he
20
reminded
yards.
me of?
Who?
The head coach of Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. Business decision. Yeah.
Dion's in the Hall of Fame and didn't make a tackle.
That is true.
Right, because they want to keep those clean white uniforms, to hang up for the game-worn jerseys.
All right, thanks, Smoking Jim.
They don't want to mess them up with grass stains.
We got people messaging in. Amy's
Poor
here.
bud.
Hi, guys. My dad is going to the heart doctor tomorrow.
no.
His heartbeat is not that great. Ever since he got COVID and RSV, prayers for your dad, Amy. And she said, welcome back, Chip. Jake Clancher gives us a thumbs up. That's our man. Marla Shatner, great Steeler game last night. Marla's a good friend of mine. What was great about it is the final score, Marla. We won an ugly game. I'll get into that
And
later.
I'll take 15 more of them.
I hope we do, Chip. I second that emotion. Jane Leffler, I don't know her. Good job, Michael Mariano.
I know him.
Marla said, welcome back, Chip. Amy
Thank
said,
you.
thank you, guys. All right, now we can go to Chip Hayner. What's on your mind?
That's on my mind. Well,
You teased us. I can't
well,
wait.
I teased you, and this is a great time to be a sports fan in Pittsburgh. It's football season. The Penguins are in training camp.
Yeah.
And the only coach that nobody's complaining about yet, or general
Name
manager, is the Penguins, because they haven't had a chance to lose 8-0 yet. And once they do, Dubas is going to look like a bonehead, and Mike Sullivan is going to be, run out of town. But I find it interesting that we've got like a tale of two cities going on in Pittsburgh. Okay, we've got two football teams, and neither of them have an offense, and neither of them have a quarterback. And the interesting thing is that on one team we blame the coordinator, and on the other team we blame the quarterback. I find it interesting that you could have such a difference, but either way, neither of our professional football teams have a quarterback. So that leads me to believe that, this. What do I always say? When people get too excited about the Steelers, remain calm. All is well. And
It's a 17-game season.
And they will figure it out, because as the season goes on, the offense will get better, because it can't get any worse. Well, they could get worse, like Pitt last week didn't even score a touchdown. But Kenny Pickett threw a touchdown pass yesterday, so that is a step in the right direction.
Well, and an interception, too. I
Well,
don't want to be negative like Jim.
I know,
but he
when-
equaled it out.
But when your defense has
There's balance.
outscored your offense for the season, that I don't think anybody drew up the game like that.
What game plan?
And everybody knows of my passion for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I do have to give a shout out to the Pirates. 70 wins, 80 losses. Much better than anybody had anticipated, as after the disastrous May and June that we had. The fact that the Pirates could potentially, I feel that they could go realistically 5-7 in the last 12 games. I'd like to see them go better. And if they do, an improvement from 62 wins to 75 wins is a significant accomplishment, even though the Pirates never were going to contend for anything this year. Because
You said it. Check the film.
no, but here's the thing with the Pirates. They were never going to contend for anything because they don't have a starting pitching staff. They've got a starter in Mitch Keller. They've got an occasional good starter in Oviedo, and other than that, there's
Mix
nothing.
it up.
Now, had the injuries not happened, if we would have had Velasquez, if we would have had JT Brubaker, maybe it would have been a different story this year. But think about this for a second. We did so poorly in May and June after such an awesome
great
April.
start.
And nobody thought that the Pirates would win, or they thought they were going to lose close to 100 games, or more than 100 games, probably, according to Jim, 120.
He lost his bet.
But it's been a lot of
another
fun.
guy lost his bet.
It's been a lot of fun watching a team that's been starting at least 5 rookies, and depending on who's pitching, potentially 6 rookies every game. And I've enjoyed watching them. I'm a season ticket holder. I got tickets to 2 of the last 3 games, and yes, I will be there rooting on my Buccos, and I'll enjoy the games, and then I'll start counting down the days till pitchers and catchers report. So
in February.
I am a firm believer that, that you ought to give people chances to succeed or to fail. Now, when Mason Rudolph played for started for the Steelers, he started 10 games. His record was 5-4-1. And it was determined that he couldn't play the position of quarterback in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky lasted 5 games, and they determined that he couldn't play quarterback in the NFL. So why is Kenny Pickett still starting after 14 games? Maybe because he scored 2 game-winning drives last year, so let's not count that out. But, I mean, at what point do we go back to
reality?
So
that's my word. So, Tomlin likes words like personality last week.
So this is what my thoughts are.
Go ahead.
You ask me what time it is.
What time is it?
Mason time.
Yes.
No, I gotta go.
That's what's on my mind.
It's duck time. It's duck time. He's dating some laney
I'm telling
country
you what,
western
of
singer.
the 3 quarterbacks we have, he's got the best deep ball of the bunch. And you know what? With Pickens running free, he's going to run out of the ball.
Yeah.
But we're going to deal the hand that we've been dealt. But I just think it's kind of unfair that you have 2 gentlemen who've started NFL games, very little chance to, play into the position, and somebody with very little NFL experience that's not really lighting up the scoreboard. He's going to continue to start, and I'm just scratching my head saying why.
Not to brag, but check my film when I talked about Kenny Pickett shouldn't be starting last year. Check the film when I said, what would a normal Steeler fan say if our quarterback, number 1 pick, only had 7 TDs and 9 interceptions? I rest my case there. I'm hopeful. I saw improvements in the preseason. I threw up the Steeler Kool-Aid last week because I was saying, let's trust Kenny and the Steelers. I found out why I don't watch preseason games, which I hardly do, because it doesn't mean anything.
So, what happens in the preseason games is we put our first stringers in against the future bartenders of America.
Yeah. Well, just like on draft day, sorry to be about me, but I've been doing the show 12 years. Every year they go, who do you think they're going to draft? And I go, I don't care. Most draft picks, number 1 picks and everything else don't make it. I'll root for whoever they get because I'm a Steeler fan. So just show me, and they're showing me right now. Open door Moore, he's back.
Well,
preseason, he only gave up 1 sack.
There is one other option, and then I'll shut up. Tank the rest of the season.
Ooh.
Caleb Williams, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
There you go. First 2 picks next year. Both of them are better quarterbacks than what we have.
I agree.
Wow, I like that. All right, Chip. We're going to move on to Nick VIP Callis right next to me. He set this all up. Again, he worked it right to 7 o'clock plus and got us on air. And look at the show. It's looking great on TV here. Thank you, Nick. Keep up the good work. Now carry on.
Well, what's on my mind? I'll talk about the Steelers, don't you worry. Also, Phil Dracovic forgot to speak to the media after the game. I think it was a true misunderstanding. He just forgot to explain things away. I mean, in all fairness, there were reports going out there that, he's not the one that decides to speak to the media after the game. That's the Director of Communications and Pat Narduzzi. I don't know how I could have made it any better by speaking, but it sure is a bad look when you don't address the media after that. And the juice of Pitt football really isn't there as it was the last couple of years. It wasn't inspiring to see Dracovic and his body language in the game. He still completed nearly single-digit passes, which is bad. Not a great completion percentage. I think at the end of the game, the one receiver was 12 yards away from the defender who intercepted the ball. To end the game, I listened to the game on Saturday as well when Bill Hillgrove said, the same thing. Oh, that defender was about 10 feet away from the intended receiver. It's just not a great look for him to perform like that and then not speak to the public. It's not good. But I like to think that because he came from a WPIL school that maybe we give him a little more slack. But it's just like the attitude about him is not great. And I mean, they touched on how the offense has been playing as well. It hasn't been playing well. Neither is the Steelers. We'll get to that. Stay there. But that's just my opinion on Pitt. I got one more thing to say before Al.
I just want to
after Al
interrupt you
speaks
on Turkovic. He had a choice to talk about it, but they said, will you answer questions about pathetic fans? Guess what he did? He went to the locker and took a shower.
Wow.
That's how simple it is.
Wow.
There you go.
He didn't want to hear anything. I heard from a couple inside people that I know close to the team.
Yeah.
And I can't give you my sources, Ralph, but they're very reliable. And how can they not be with what he did? Just sharing
It's
that.
time to put Valera in.
Yeah. All right, carry on, Nick.
All
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
but
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's
Just wanted to be fair.
there's little excuse for that, but
Zero.
for not speaking. But anyway, also I went to my first Pirate game of the season on Saturday. I got the whole weekend off, which was a miracle.
How
So
rare
let
is
me know.
that?
I was there.
Yeah. I saw Chip on Facebook, and I was like, oh, man, he was there. And I was a little bit split because it's really hard when I like to, I root for the Yankees and I root for the Pirates, and I'm fine with that because they're in competing leagues, and before, interleague play wasn't a popular thing, and now it is, and now every team plays every team at least once every year, so it gets kind of hard. Now the the Yankees come to PNC Park to play the Pirates. They're both like the same amount of games out of a wild card spot, which is shocking when you think about that. But also, it's like, well, I want one of these teams to sweep the other because it'll give them a better chance moving forward. A split, or in what they did, they finished 2-1. The Yankees did. Doesn't really help either in terms of really clawing back into the race. And the Pirates could have gotten a sweep as well, and I would have been equally as happy because then they would have been like 5.5 back of a wild card spot midweek, but they decided to lose 2 instead. And they definitely chose to lose that first game the way that ended on Friday. But regardless, because of my torn passion for both teams, I was conflicted on who to cheer for, and I did something for the first time in my life. I went to the game with a Yankees shirt and a Pirate hat and shorts. And several people approached me and said,
What's wrong with you?
"Sir, you look confused." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. This is not fun. This is tough." And I swear, I sat there, and everything good that happened, I could not be happy because it was also very sad. I've never been more mellow in a baseball game before in my life. Stanton cranks one to left field off of Luis Ortiz. I'm just like, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So
That's your team.
That's what's on my mind. It was kind of fun to react that way. I want to go to one more game this season just so that I don't have to sit there and be interested in everything that's happening. I can actually be happy for one side. But that was a unique experience to go and to see two teams play that you really like that are both equally out of a playoff race and so that's what's on my mind. Baseball.
Hey, Nick, thank you. The one thing I appreciate at 24 years old, you're still learning. My other co-host there stopped at 18. And, I like big teams like the Yankees and I like Green Bay Packers, so I understand being in a mixed situation. Imagine in '69 when I finally became a Steeler fan with Joe Green.
Wow.
I had to cut the Packers loose, but it was hard
Yeah.
back then in the 60s and early 70s. So I understand
once they
that.
got rid of Vince Lombardi,
Yes, it was
that
easy.
That changed
The whole dichotomy just changed. Yeah, I agree, Chip.
Well, I don't anticipate cutting the Yankees loose either. It was just it's amazing to think about that, too. The Yankees and the Pirates are the same amount of games out of a wild card spot at this point in the season. And it's not impossible for them to come back. The Pirates actually have a lesser chance. But still, it's wild to me to think that they're both like 6.5, 7 games out.
Hey,
Wild card spot at this point.
I appreciate your what's on your mind and very honest dissertation there. So it's accepted by all of us. All right, what's on my mind? First, we got some people. Amy said, like your pirate shirt, Chip. He always wears pirate gear. You're not even noticing Smoking Jim. Marla said, go Pens. Paul Haley, this will be for you, Smoking Jim. All hail T.J. Watt and his Steeler defense as they outscored our Matt Canada offense 14-12 last night. Canada is a high school OC at best. Why is he still there? Let me explain Mike Tomlin. He needs scapegoats on the team.
Good point.
I had Drew. Drew's watching. We checked out to see what O Canada makes. $500,000 a year. Most average or good ones make $1 to $4 million.
That's true.
So we know that. Now, he said if the defense doesn't score 3 or 4 times, Paul, you're really optimistic, in every upcoming game, the Steelers, here's his prediction, will wind up 3-14. Thank you, Paul.
Caleb Williams.
14. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
After the quarterback.
All right, Chief comes up with some wisdom. Obviously, we won't apologize for a win. Never. I never met a bad win. I've seen ugly wins like the other day, yesterday. And here's what Chief says. We will check the component and be ready for next week. Last week, Coach Tomlin used personality why we lost. The San Francisco personalities what beat us last week. So you picked a good word. He throws those components out.
Would the team change its name? It's no longer the 49ers?
It's their personality. He always focuses on, because he likes to show that he reads the dictionary, because everybody in the NFL, think about, we're talking about Canada. Who hired him? Who's the head coach?
Good point.
Nary a word is against Tomlin.
Good point.
A couple shows have mentioned that Stephen A. Smith came out and said, hey, Tomlin got to take some of the blame with Canada. So there you go. And
what does Snoop Dogg say? Anything?
he goes, I love the Steelers. Give me another blunt.
He said, pass me another blunt.
Ralph has some wisdom, too. The Steelers-Browns game, it's better to be lucky than good. Always, Ralph, you've watched it. George Malherbe, longtime friend and employee at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and Press with me. And Ralph comes up with, he has inside information. Canada wanted $1 million when he was at the Pitt, left for LSU. And Ralph, he only lasted 1 year. And they were 11-5, but not because of the OC. All right, let me say what's on my mind. Thank you for all your comments. We appreciate all of them. Thank you for watching us, on our YouTube channel, on Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook. I enjoy putting your comments out. Sometimes I see them. A lot of times I don't. Smoking Jim goes, who's commenting? I told you. What's on my mind is, after I got all that Kool-Aid out of my system, I wanted to watch a good game. I was hopeful that we'd see improvements in the offensive line, defensive line, and even Kenny Pickett. I thought maybe we'd see an improvement. I saw none of the above, but I saw our outside linebackers dominate a game. Smokin' Jim predicted T.J. Watt would be the greatest linebacker in Steeler history when he got drafted. I disagreed with him for about 3 years, and I said, give him time. Well, he's like fine wine. His time is now. He's the leading sacker in Steeler history all time. And he beat the legendary mentor, James Harrison, who taught everybody how not to be good. But that's another story. So just watching the game, I'm watching Pickens. Wow, how did a miracle happen that he got a pass over the middle by Kenny Pickett right in stride, 71 yards. He blew away from everybody. Then how's he struggling with getting passes to him the rest of the game? And Pickens is so happy he got over 100 yards. You didn't hear him yelling on the sideline. They're not throwing at him. But you did see him grumbling. I watched him because the camera was always on him. He was looking down, complaining to this coach, that coach, a player. Guess what? I'm glad he's competitive, but he has one problem. The quarterback. Kenny hasn't improved. Here's what amazes me. I've watched football my whole life, baseball, coached it. I loved watching young kids get better. I love teams put minor leaguers like Chips talking, get better. I love finding out who's not going to make it, too. Well, I'm seeing no improvement with Kenny. I'm seeing the offensive line. That Kool-Aid I had, I believed we were going to run like you couldn't believe. Najee Harris had a 22-yard gain and ended up with 55 yards. At halftime, we had one, I'll emphasize, 1 yard rushing. Wow. What professional team does that? Then you got a guy they bragged about and drafted him in basically the first round, Joey Porter. You played him 7 times last week. Drew and I were counting. We only saw about 4 times, maybe 5, that he was on the field. Maybe it was double.
Do you realize that the Steelers gained a negative 7 yards in the fourth quarter yesterday?
Yes.
And still won, and that is only the second time that has happened
I saw that.
this century.
That's incredible.
No, it's amazing.
That's incredible.
And I'm just looking at the offense. Warren, I've always liked Warren since he got here. He shows this speed and a burst of speed, and when he gets hit, he doesn't stop. Like some guys fall down or whatever else, and he's just
Are
great.
you sure they don't jump up in the air?
No, so, I mean, I watch this whole game inside. I'm always in tune with the line. But here's what bothered me, and I'll bring it up because Drew's my right-hand guy. I go, do you notice all these jerseys in the backfield 2 to 4 yards back? That's after the ball was snapped. So I'm like, how can you have any offense with 3 to 6 guys in your backfield? And half the time they weren't blitzing, and they're in the backfield. So look at Najee. You know, can you imagine? You look at him on the sideline, his body language is, what more can I do? They're on me. And Warren, he doesn't care about anything. He's just running.
He's just happy to be there.
Yeah, I mean, look at from where he is. He's a second guy. So it's just disappointing to watch it, and I know it's frustrating. I don't know what the rest of the season will be like because, like I've said, they give a little defense for Canada. When you have your quality of players that you can't trust, maybe you dumb down your playbook. But when your playbook is so dumb and it gets dumber, what's going on? To get rid of Canada now, we'd find out if Kenny's a bust or not. Because maybe some of the things Canada's doing, like they did with Trubisky, don't throw an interception. Look at how they ruined him in 5 starts. What are they saying
didn't
to
stop
Kenny?
him from throwing them.
No, but I'm saying, hey, most of us, Chip, you and I are stubborn. Most of us playing sports are stubborn. If we think we can do it, then I look at something, a guy's worth $230 million in a contract. And I watched Deshaun Watson playing, and I go, that's not the guy from 3 or 4 years ago. He's not the guy. He doesn't move like him. He doesn't run. He doesn't throw like him. Then he runs. I've never seen this in football. 2 face mask penalties by the quarterback on a run each time. So I'm like thinking, I always wonder, what are people thinking when they make a mistake? Okay, if I make a mistake one time, I've been taught, don't make it again. That's in my head. My dad used to yell at me, and I'd practice that to be better. So I'm thinking, he does it a second time, and then he goes over and touches the referee. Anybody else but a sex offender would have had a flag. I mean, that has to be it because the NFL has a double standard.
Oh my goodness!
So I'm just saying it because how can you not think that?
You know,
Like,
the biggest,
why would you treat him better?
the best thing that came out of that game last night was that Kenny Pickett wasn't the worst quarterback on the field, and he's not. We're not married to paying him $230 million.
Well, I heard on NFL Today, because they were saying how they noticed the same thing, not the sex offender part. That I'm thinking, like, look at what he got charged with, and he never was guilty of it because guess what? He paid 24 women off. So why are you paying women not to testify? Well, you figure it out. But we'll get into that. So on NFL Today, or NFL Live, I watched that on ESPN. They said if they got rid of him and cut him, it would cost them $100 million. Now, the Browns are broke every year. Look what they've done.
Next year, his cap hit is $64 million. If they were to lose him after 2025, it would go up to over $100 million.
Well, that's
a cap hit. So that means you could, basically the rest of the team isn't getting paid.
Right.
Wow.
No, but I mean, we think our situation's bad. Look what they did, and look at Lamar Jackson's happy that they did that, because look at what he made, right?
And the Browns.
And how can Joe Burrow, look at him? He's crippled up. Why would you let your star player, anybody that's had a hamstring or a calf, how does it heal up right away in a week or two?
Good point.
And you can see he's hobbled and can't throw. He had the worst percentage throwing, I think, in his whole career. And they're still thinking about keeping him in again. Rest him for a month. Let him heal up and do all the therapeutics on it.
By then he'll be 0-7.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, we need a chance. I'm a Steeler fan. We're going to win the division.
And
I
the
don't know
Browns
how, but-
is the Browns.
Yes.
That's what you can say about
The
Cleveland.
mistake on the lake, the team that Smoking Jim 5 years ago predicted with Mayfield they go to the Super Bowl. We're going to go to him with fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac, 10 seconds. Johnny. No.
Stop.
No.
5 seconds.
Try to do it again.
I can count.
No, 5 means you go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
One Mississippi. Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Everybody, please hold your applause to the end. I think I got it right here. I got the top 10 outside linebackers in NFL history, and I'll go in descending order.
Hold on, I want to make a bet with Al. I
All
think he's got-
24 of them.
Oh, no, wait. We got a side bet here. What is it, Nick?
I think he's going to list 18 names this time.
Whoa.
What do you think?
I'm thinking 16.
All right, here we go.
Well, I got 10 here. 10
That's a lie.
10C.
Uh-oh, that's 12 right off the bat. I'm close.
Hollywood Henderson. 10B.
Can he spell cat?
The Biscuit. Cornelius Bennett.
Whoa.
10A. Nobody argue with this. Robert Brazil. Number 9. He'll never make the Hall of Fame, but he was a Hall of Fame player, in my opinion. James Harrison. How about number 8? Andre Tippett. Number 7. Ricky Jackson. How about number 6C? And I know Chip will agree with this. 6C, Bobby Bell.
Whoa.
How about number 6B? My favorite football player of all time. Broke my heart when he came out with that steroid garbage. Bill Romanowski, Boston College great. How about number 6A?
Oh.
Should be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe the greatest linebacker to ever play the game. Gets no credit. Clay Matthews Sr. How about 5? Derek Thomas. How about 4? The late, great Kevin Green. How about 3? The Hammer. Jack Ham. Number 2, LT, and the greatest outside linebacker I've ever seen, TJ Watt.
I was close
And-
at 14.
There you go.
13.
And I got here, somebody just messaged me, Baker Mayfield, Super Bowl MVP for the Bucks, and I agree with that. 2-0.
Thank you, Smoking
You're
Jim.
welcome.
He
sir.
got it. He got it right. He got 14.
I got 14, baby.
right.
Yeah. I know my Smoking Jim. That's my BFF. Some of you think he's crazy. You're correct. All right, George Malerbo said, so true, Al. George Malerbo also said, so funny, Al. Chief McElroy said, machine is correct. Paul Haley said, who said money can't buy you love? Deshaun Watson, the Beatles sang it. We're covering everything. Paul, you're on fire tonight. All right. Let's go to Chip Hayner and trivia time.
All right, everybody. So tonight I'm going to make this short and sweet.
Okay.
I want to make sure that young Nicholas over here and Alan get a chance to to do their thing. So
Yay! All right.
I want to mention something. You know, I've always got to do something that's got a pirate twist to it, right?
Yes.
And this man has set a record that will never be broken. Kind of like the 56-game hitting streak of Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, yep. We got it. Here we go again. The 40s and 50s were the greatest time ever. Baseball.
Yes. But I want to wish a very happy birthday to one Harvey Haddix.
Oh, yeah.
Pirate starting pitcher. The record he holds, which will never be broken, is he pitched 12 innings of perfect baseball before he lost in the 13th inning. Wow. On a 3-run homer by Joe Adcock of the Milwaukee Braves that only plated 1 run.
Whoa.
Okay.
Tell him why.
All right. So
This is good. It's like Smoking Jim when he thought he didn't have a hit.
Yeah, 7 for 8, and I found out I went.
Yeah, so Joe Adcock hit what appeared to be a walk-off 3-run homer. A base-running mistake caused Adcock's home run to be ruled as a 1-run double by National League President Warren Giles sometime later. So, you know, in this day and age of pitch counts and, you know, we pull a pitcher after 2 perfect innings, or we pull a pitcher after 6 perfect. You're never going to see anybody pitch 12 innings of perfect baseball.
Right.
And that is an accomplishment that should be acknowledged, I think, on an annual basis.
You're doing it.
But a happy birthday to Harvey Haddix.
Happy birthday, Harvey.
Happy birthday. Michael's grandmother, while he gets off his phone, Ann Harder, said yes, the 1960s. She missed it a little bit.
Well, no, this was on May 26, 1959.
1959. Wow.
Before I was born.
Before you were born.
And you.
When was it
But
again?
just by a couple of months.
He was showing me something. When was
May
it?
26, 1959.
Okay, that's what I thought you said, 59.
Danny Murtaugh was the manager.
Of course.
Danny Murtaugh
Future
was
Hall of
manager.
Famer.
Should be.
Future Hall of
He
Famer.
should not be future. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree with that.
All right, George Malerbo said, wait till next year. Okay, we'll wait. All right, let's go to VIP time with Nick Callis. VIP.
Okay, let's talk about the Steelers. Normally, actually on special occasion, I'd hang a banner behind me. And
No, you did it once.
you know what? That moment came up in my memories on Facebook, and I shared it. So go to my Facebook feed.
I gotta
You'll
check
see
it
the
out.
episode from that. Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. They beat the Bills. Very fun. And then that season happened, and then the next season happened. But we're talking about
We got this
season.
season. Come on, Nick.
So now we're here, right? We're 2 years later, and it's been 2 weeks of football, and we watched terrible offense. Now, I can just say that football's not my number one specialty. I know more of the ins and outs of baseball. So when I watch, I can anticipate a little bit better. I can anticipate Matt Canada's play calls. And I anticipate, I can watch the formation that he puts out there.
You're getting like Tony Romo.
No, I'm not getting like Tony Romo.
You sound like him.
No. The point
Sorry to interrupt.
The point of me saying that is I'm not like Tony Romo. I understand enough football to understand what Matt Canada is going to call in his plays. So no, that's not a brag for me. That's actually
I mistook it.
Shame.
I apologize.
Shame brought on Matt Canada, because if I could understand and anticipate what his plays are going to be, there's a problem. So and it seems that the other National League football defenses can also figure out what he's going to do. He's not making adjustments, and they're running a lot of the same plays, and it's frustrating. The first drive of the game, they threw, 3 slant passes? They were the same passes, essentially, slants. And the third time, the Browns were like, hey, we're good enough to stop this because it's the same thing. So that's really frustrating. And I'm also frustrated because we had talked before, too, last week, and, I talked to people in sports. We're talking about, the defense is to blame because they couldn't keep the 49ers from scoring, and they gave up 30 points. And I talked about last week, the offense at 5 straight 3-and-outs to start the game.
Yes.
Now, we notice in this game against the Browns, they're not the 49ers offense, right? They're a more mid-team, maybe a little less than mid if you have that opinion of the Browns. But they were not an elite offense. They didn't have those weapons. And there you go. The Steelers' elite defense was making consistent plays and stopping them. And they weren't getting fatigued that game. So now, for all of you who say the defense is the problem or the defense gave up 30 points to the 49ers, goodbye. Clearly, the defense is not the problem, so now we move to the offense. Okay, which I anticipated. I said it. The offense is the problem. And we got that with yesterday's game, yesterday's display of, through the first half repetition in the plays. The same thing over and over again, which, not good. Now, you blame Pickett if you want to. I'm here to say I don't blame Pickett all that much when you talk about the offensive pressure that's coming through, and he has to scramble and go toward any secondary options, or the defense already knows what's going to happen, and they're coming toward him or coming toward the backs, jet sweeps, that stuff not good. So I don't blame Pickett for that. And somebody I read on social media as well was talking about that Pickett pressure shouldn't matter in a quarterback's confidence or a quarterback's ability to perform.
Who said that?
It's like if you're gonna
somebody that never played quarterback.
I know.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're, I don't know. I mean, if you're being chased, you're obviously not going to perform whatever duty you are as best as you are because you're being chased. You're going to avoid being caught, right? That's
That's
same
common
thing.
sense.
So I mean,
Thanks, Nick.
So when I look at this, I say, okay, Matt Canada is in charge of making the adjustments. If he's the one bringing all the offensive players together to execute a plan, then he ultimately falls responsible. I'm not jumping on the wagon yet of let's draft Caleb Williamson. I'm not there yet. I don't think the Steelers are also gonna only win 3 games this year. Although maybe that's a dream for many of you to get close to a first overall pick.
We don't want to be in the
a
middle of the draft anymore.
No, and I'm with you.
I'm a
there.
Steeler fan.
And I'm really with you there, and it's the highs and the lows, and the Kool-Aid's been drank, and then it's been spilled, and I get that. And I'm kind of on that. I'm kind of with that, too. Really, what I understood based on the reports that I had was that the offense was playing differently in the preseason, and then the regular season comes around, and everybody's panicking. The lineman can't block. Kenny Pickett's forced to scramble. Matt Canada can't make the proper adjustments, and he's so predictable. I can figure it out. And I'm not a schemer. Like, there are tells that you can see. So when we talk about who to blame, I say Matt Canada in all this case. His job is to make the adjustments for the team. Kenny Pickett's not experienced enough yet to continue to be a bailout or to be the one to make these adjustments for the team right now. I'm sure he could develop into that as his career goes on. I'm not ready to toss him out yet, but if you're going to hire a guy to make those adjustments and be the one to facilitate that plan, then that's the guy that's got to be held accountable, not the quarterback that is perceived to not be executing. But again, I'm watching him, and the pocket collapses, and he has to panic. Now, there are a few times where the offensive line stayed true as well, and they actually gave the ball to Pickens, right? He got into space, and he scored.
Once.
That's a good plan. I don't care how much he complains to the public either. Pickens should be the one getting the football. He's good enough to get the football, and he clearly can score when he has it. Scheme him in more. Scheme in some more tight ends, I would say, more tight end play, and stop being so predictable. But again, that's not necessarily Pickett's fault if he's the one taking orders from coordinators. So don't be so quick to pull the plug on Kenny Pickett. Blame the guy we've been blaming for years now, which is Canada, the guy who didn't really succeed when Ben Roethlisberger was still on the roster, and a guy who put together poor plans in the first half of last season, and then kind of lost control in the second half of the season to the Steelers' benefit because they were in desperation mode at the time. I'm tired of starting slow, and I'm tired of Canada not being competent enough to call plays, and that's the opinion.
And I'd just like to give a different perspective on things.
Oh.
And I do respect your opinion.
It's because you're on that side of the desk.
No,
Well, that's a perspective.
but everybody's looking to point the finger and blame at somebody, okay? And regardless of what play is called, if all 11 people are working together and doing their jobs, it doesn't matter if anybody knows what they're doing. If everybody does their jobs, then the play should work. You know, like not every single play is going to be a touchdown. On the play when Pickens was wide open, that was one of the biggest blown coverages I've seen. There wasn't anybody within 10 yards of him. I mean, you could have thrown him that pass, and he would have scored a touchdown.
Everybody knew Green Bay Packers was going to run that sweep and couldn't stop.
They ran the power sweep, and guess what? It worked every single time.
Let me put a little.
Everybody
point.
did their job. So I think big problem with the Steelers offense. Not everybody's doing. Somebody's blowing their assignment almost on every single play. Sometimes 2 or 3 people, and subsequently the offense looks horrible.
Well, we're not going to do my segment because we're going to continue on this because there's some important points. I agree with his basic premise of it, but look at San Francisco. I love the team, think they'll be back in the Super Bowl again. Look at what they do, Nick. We have one formation. Mm-hmm. You know what they do? They have 4 to 5. Yeah. Just watch the formations they do. You don't have to be an expert. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like to Chip's point, if they do block, like how many guys were in the backfield with the Browns last night? That's what my point is. Now, with Green Bay, they ran that sweep, became famous for it, Vince Lombardi. We could do the same thing, but we don't have the players capable of doing it. And the difference, I just want to clarify with the preseason. Paul Haley makes a point. Like Chip said, our starters played against future bartenders. Our offensive line doesn't do its job. Those are Chip's points. That's part of my point. Being a center for Keystone Oaks, we were up against Upper St. Clair, Bethel Park, Cannon, Mac, and we'd play our heart out, and we'd put good games in there, but we'd get beat. They were the better teams. Mm-hmm. So in life, you learn that, but like you're saying, how do you get an edge? Your coach can coach you up, Chip. That's what I talk about. The coach has some responsibility, knowing his talent, and if he doesn't, Canada can tell him to do whatever they want, but they're not capable. So you got that dichotomy going on. You want to see them do their best, but we're seeing through one formation doing all the different plays.
And it doesn't seem like they're desperate right now either. Like last season when they fell down and they wanted to come back, they were playing desperate at the end of games. And they're not doing that now because they feel like they have time, but his schemes aren't working.
Here's the problem I have. Last year, first half of the season, 2-6. End of the season, 7-2. They wanted to make Tomlin Coach of the Year. My point was, great job at the end. Who was the coach all year? Tomlin's responsible for all of this. Because how can we see it? Are you getting paid? Well, you work at the Fan. But we don't get paid, at least I don't and Chip don't, to critique sports. Smoking Jim did. We don't know if he's working or retired or what he's doing there. But, you know, they're billion-dollar teams, and they see this and pay people to tell them what to do. Who's listening? That's what I want to know. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you enjoyed our perspectives. And, you know, we're not always right, nor do we claim to be. We're doing the eye test. What do we see on the field? I want the Steelers to win. I bleed black and gold.
A 2-touchdown victory in Vegas on Sunday.
Yes. Yes.
Jeez.
And both touchdowns are going to be scored by Watt.
I was thinking he'd get 3. All right, we got to end the show. Please stay Joey strong.